So, hello everyone, my name is Max and I'm the owner and roaster of Kavka Coffee, and today we're filming first episode of our Main Treasure subscription. Our first guest and our first product is Chip Hot Sauce, and here is the owner, Chip. He's a local superstar. He's pretty famous in this area, so I'm so glad he's here. Chip, do you want to tell about yourself and your business?
Certainly, yeah. My name is Chip Dewing, and I've lived here most of my life. I grew up with a family business running the Whitehall Inn for 34 years, very successful, and we sold that right before the recession after our 2005 season. So over the years, I've been in the food, wine, hospitality business, traveling out to Napa Valley, California for several winters and many year-round stays working for wineries, restaurants, predominantly wineries. A lot of exposure to some great chefs and winemakers over the years. And during all those years of exposure to food, wine, I developed an innate sense of putting flavors together, different components, textures with different ingredients. And hot sauce is just something that came up. We're a very successful restaurant in the area that I worked for, running the bar and the wine program for years. The chef always had his own homemade hot sauce that he brought out for staff meal, which had skull and crossbones drawn on a piece of masking tape, and underneath it, hell sauce. It was quite hot, and I just went home one weekend. I'm just gonna try to make my own hot sauce, but without all those hot elements. Maybe add many layers. So I was using a combination of sweet and hot peppers, predominantly hot, but not like ghost peppers, more, Fresnos, cherry bombs, habaneros, always red or orange or yellow, predominantly red. But I was also add sweet peppers, a smaller percentage.
What I noticed is like medium hotness, if you say, because I wasn't a big fan of super hot sauces, but yours like medium, and that's why I think I love it so much.
Yeah.
For me, it's like perfect. I share it with my wife, and she really loved it. She said,
great.
That's like first hot sauce she ever had in her life with a meal.
I hear these stories off and on about, especially even kids. They love it because it does have that sweet element, but it sort of introduces them to what a little bit of heat could be in a spicy food. So, but and then also the vinegars I use. I don't use all tart vinegars. I also use a rice wine vinegar, which also gives it a little sweetness, and a touch of curry. So there's a lot of little ingredients along the way that add depth and layers of flavors, and that's why
it's not just a simple like hotness.
It's just not just all heat and vinegar. It's the layers. That's why I think it's appealing to so many people, because it goes with so many different foods. People love it on their eggs, fish tacos, oysters, roasting potatoes. If you're making deviled eggs and, folding some of my hot sauce into the egg yolk as you're whipping it up and piping it back into the half eggs. So it's...
I've seen this experiment people do in the internet. They even love putting hot sauce. They love to put hot sauce in a coffee drink, in a cappuccino and latte. And I think today we made some Kavka coffee, and I think today I would try it. I mean, just to give it a try, how it's gonna taste like. So let me see. How hot do I want it?
Yes.
It's funny what people do on the internet, but many people told me it actually tastes good. I never ever did it in my life, so it's like first try, first sip.
Terrific.
Hot sauce in a cappuccino. Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, it's not bad. It's like adding sugar, but it's opposite to sugar, and it's I wouldn't say it's bad. Do you want to give it just a little
Why not?
try? I think it could be a good, good addition if you have like, especially on such a cold day like today. Well, even I think I can add more.
Well, I use it every morning. If I have eggs, they always go in the eggs.
Well, like afternoon drink for the cold winter day, it's perfect. Surprisingly good.
I've been making a lot of batches of hot sauce in the last couple of weeks because Christmas time, a lot of, it's a great stocking stuffer present. So a lot of people,
especially Christmas gives you such a story.
Yeah.
And do you use local peppers and local products?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. Not all year round, but from late July through probably the first week in November, my dear friend Victoria Marshall, she and her husband have this wonderful farm out in Morrill. So sometimes I'll drive out there during the season. She'll tell me, "Oh, I've got so many peppers. Let's come out." I come out and I'll help harvest some for a half hour, and then we'll go in the barn, we'll weigh them up, and off I go. But I think she grows something like 16 or so different varieties of peppers.
Oh, okay.
So they're not your usual run-of-the-mill peppers, and I've got to know which ones have mild, which has a little more heat. Some of them have a little more floral qualities, but it's really, from my perspective, I love using her peppers because it just adds more layers of flavors and bright notes to the hot sauce. And in the wintertime, after her season's done, I'll buy more at the end of the season, and then I can freeze some of her peppers. They freeze really well, and it doesn't change at all the quality or the texture when I'm making the sauce. So I'd say, 6 months, 5 months of the year are all local peppers grown here in Maine, right?
That's great.
But even in the winter months, when I'm getting peppers from food providers that purchase bulk, they're coming from Mexico or California, and but I'm confined to as many different varieties of peppers. But I can always get Fresnos and red habaneros, and occasionally cherry bombs, and that combined with the sweet bell peppers, red, orange, yellow, I still consistently come up with the same flavor profile and the same heat level.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how long you been doing this?
I was looking back at some of my bottles. I think this is like year 12.
Year 12.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, we always have challenges during our entrepreneurial life. But do you remember when you started? What was the toughest part of starting business 12 years ago?
Well, I think when I realized I only made, I would actually use Cholula bottles that were empty. A friend of mine, there was a restaurant locally, and every time I would go in there, they'd be saving all these empty Cholula bottles, and I'd run them home, run them through the dishwasher, and I'd make, maybe a couple dozen bottles worth, and share them with friends. And then I started to realize, wow, I've got something going here. So that's when I started buying, woozy bottles in bulk, and it just took a while to realize how much I actually had to have in stock at one time to be able to provide the demand that was out there for my sauce. So that was the most challenging thing, realizing, how much time, how much investment I needed in materials to make one batch, and figure out, how I could do it profitably.
It's also expensive part of this, hot sauce.
Yeah.
These nice tiny bottles, I know they probably cost a good amount of money.
So the more you buy, the less they cost. But and now I'm at the point now where I could move on to that next step, but I do everything myself. I'm cutting the peppers, I'm selecting the peppers, I'm making the sauce, bottling, labeling, and then delivering. So
the same as we do at Kavka, we do deliver by ourselves, we roast, we package.
Yeah.
That's a beauty.
And then, of course, I'm the sales guy too that
And
gives the
sales
pitch. But it's now the point where word of mouth is there, and people from
for 12 years.
some people they're here for 3 or 4 months in the summer, live in New York or California or somewhere else in the wintertime, and there's a demand for occasionally I'll just get an email or a text, hey, can you send me a case or two down? So I'm getting close to realizing, okay, I need to hire someone to help and maybe,
So you
move
have
into
those you have like those big goals. You really wanna. Because I met some entrepreneurs. They wanna stay local. But do you think you want to go there? Like you even would ship it. You would ship it to.
I'm not convinced of that. I don't want to complicate my life at this stage of my life anymore. I still want to have some time to travel and enjoy life. But I do find that there is a demand. I could probably bump up the production more, and to do that, I'm still trying to figure out, whether that would entail moving into a larger kitchen and having someone help with me. But I don't want to mass produce this and have it in Whole Foods and stuff like that. No.
And I've seen you on some shelves as we are with our coffee. How many stores do you have in your pocket?
About a dozen in 2 or 3 restaurants.
Okay.
And I have one place down in Portland that carries my hot sauce too. But most of the other ones are all in the mid-coast,
Okay.
from Belfast down to Owl's Head.
That's nice. And by most of your business coming just from people that know you and like from word of mouth, or you think like
a lot of them are from people that know me, but there's also, I guess I would say yes, I know every owner of all these businesses, but they turn people onto it at their stores, and then so I get a following of people I've never even met before that, I'll run into someone. I'm in the restaurant business too, so I'll have a customer that I'm talking about wine with, and then I'll just casually say, "Oh, I've been making hot sauce for a while," and then, "Are you Chip? Oh my God, we've been having your hot sauce for years." So it's fun and very gratifying to meet someone that I've never even met before, that they've been having a bottle of my hot sauce in the fridge for the last 6 years or so. So.
Are you probably receiving compliments from all over the United States as well? Like, do you have many customers like just outside of Maine?
They're mostly friends, honestly, or friends of friends. Oh, Chip, we have these next door neighbors that love your hot sauce. We're going to split a case. Can you send us one? Something like that. But I have a friend who, over the years working in the Napa Valley, he just celebrated his 40th harvest as a winemaker. So I sent him some of my hot sauce out and a few other goodies just in appreciation for his, the impact he's had in the wine industry. And I always go visit them when I'm out there. We love to cook together, so yeah.
So if you would overall, are you happy you started a business? Because some people get to the point when they think maybe I shouldn't waste many years of my life doing business, because it's not easy. It's not for everyone, and if you would have to start over, would you start again?
Honestly, my hot sauce is just a labor of love. I'm very passionate about creating food, creating pleasure for other people through through my food and even through my wine knowledge, and it's just very gratifying to see the expression on their face when, "Oh wow, this is great," or "Thank you for introducing me to this."
So you didn't start thinking about profits?
No. I came up with a recipe that from the very first day that I finished it, and I shared it with 2 or 3 of my friends that we love to cook together, and they were all like, "Oh my God, this is something you should really consider making more of." So,
it's I think it's worth more than money. Even if you don't make a lot of money, but you still receive those beautiful compliments.
But I love creating food that sort of meets every every standard you're trying to achieve through texture, color, flavor, lingering finish, all of those. And if I can do that, whether I'm making hot sauce or making beef braciole or veal piccata, these are all, it makes me feel like I've created something and I've accomplished what I set out to do, and always, with full heart and passion behind it all. So.
Do you have any other products or plans to launch?
Well, I make other things in addition to this, like I'm just in the process. I'm waiting for a bulk box of Maine harvested sea salt today, and I'll be going home, and usually around this time of year I make, it's a lemon infused fresh herb sea salt. So it is, I've got fresh rosemary, lemon thyme, Calabrian chili pepper flakes, local lavender that's been dried, so the flowers, and lemon zest, and you mix it all together, and I'll be bagging those. One side of the bag has a nice open window, so you can actually see all the speckles of colors, and it's perfect to season if you're roasting a chicken in the oven, or grilling some fish, or just adding it to a steak. Anything you want to season that has more than just the salt element. And so
that sounds tasty. I want to buy and take and
yeah.
Salt.
And I also make other seasonal items. In another month or two, when the citrus starts coming into the season, I make a Meyer lemon blood orange marmalade, and everyone loves that. Very limited production, but so that'll be in February, March.
So being Ukrainian and like having business in Ukraine, and I have this small business here in Maine, in the United States, I can compare like the government support for small businesses. How do you feel about does government does enough for small businesses here in the United States?
I wish they did more, but honestly, we're very lucky here in the state of Maine. I find that even the current administration, Governor Mills has, I think, done a lot for small businesses, and through grants or just adding more incentive for small businesses to be able to survive through.
And I think they're really flexible on taxes, because if I compare it to Ukraine, taxes are really tough for small businesses, and they're not that flexible as here. And honestly, from my Ukrainian soul, I can tell that it's much easier to start business. I mean, it's complicated because the competition is huge, but you have a lot of support from government in the United States, which I wish we would have the same support in Ukraine. But I think we will get there. But being Ukrainian, I just can say that people can place an order for your sauce, or you have Facebook.
So I do have a Facebook page. I have an Instagram. I actually will get a lot of orders through my Instagram. It's under Chip's Provisions, and but I haven't opened up a website yet. I feel once I do that, then I really have to, manage orders coming in through that, and then
you'll become marketing guys, and
so then I really need to hire someone. So I'm trying to decide what. I think it'll probably happen, because I think there's enough demand for I can just make them as seasonal, limited edition, limited availability through a website, and I think it'll probably give me a little more exposure too.
It has to happen, I think, because we really have, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of hot sauces, but that hot sauce changed my preferences a little bit.
Great.
And if you ever start website, or you want to promote your social media, we have a pretty strong Ukrainian team, which is they're charging almost nothing compared to what those companies charge here in the US. So we're always happy to help, and always happy to share this experience with small businesses.
Nice.
So
we'll keep that in mind.
So that was a nice conversation. We really wanted to have it short, so you guys are not bored of our. We can talk for hour and hour. You're such an interesting people, but yeah, like we appreciate your time and we really want to keep it short and interesting. So cheap hot sauce is our first product, and it starts in December. We'll give Chip's contacts and social media in our YouTube comments or whatever in our YouTube description. And it was a pleasure meeting you, and I wish you well.
I'm just so happy to work with you, and I'm really excited for what you're doing with this coffee roasting company that you've started from scratch here in Maine, and here it is just about a year later.
I wish we started from scratch. I started from I think it's less than scratch.
Yeah.
It's like being father of two kids and like being a war immigrant.
You've had more challenge than most of us will
but we
ever
do
have.
not complain. I don't really want to complain because there is much more people struggling in this world. Like there's a lot of people dying right now, not only in Ukraine, in other wars. And,
I know.
I'm grateful and happy what I have, and probably as you said, I'm really happy to receive comments from California or from Texas, people saying, "Oh, your coffee is really something different."
Yeah.
Because I always put product as a first, and then we talk about profit. So I really want to create something that our Ukraine will be proud of, and
absolutely, and your grandmother.
And I think Maine is a beautiful state to start business.
I feel very blessed, as we all should, living in this incredible state. We really, with all that's going around the world, you can just take a deep breath of this fresh air and just feel thankful that we live amongst so much beauty.